myself in. This is going to be a little bit different of a video today. I don't even know if I'm going to show my face up at all for this one. So this is a really sad thing that just happened. So today is the 24th of April 2024, and so it is a Wednesday. So Thursday last week, which would have been the 18th of April 2024, your friend Alice was over and you guys was playing, and I went upstairs and our cat Tiga was laying on the ground and he was having a seizure. And he's had a couple before, but it just kept going and kept going and kept going. And so we called the local animal ER, and they said to bring him in. So I picked him up and took him to the ER, and the seizure had been going on like 30-45 minutes or so. And so after everything was all said and done, they came and told me that they were able to get the seizure to stop, but they had to get him an anesthetic to temporarily put him to sleep, and that they were going to need to hold him overnight at the hospital to see if anything happened, because they didn't want to give him the medicine, then have him come home because the seizure had stopped, and then him to have another seizure just to have us go back up there later in the night. So they kept him overnight. And so Friday was the next day, which would have been the 19th of April. It's like 7:45 in the morning. We're still kind of asleep. But they called your mom, and they said that unfortunately the seizures had stopped. But Tiga did not wake up after he was given the anesthetic to make him go to sleep for the medicine and everything. And so at that point in time, we'd had to make the tough decision. We want to wait. He's been having some health problems. He's got kidney problems. We think he's probably got some arthritis. The doctor was saying that possibly what had caused it was that he might have a tumor in his brain, and the only way to see if it was a tumor was to have him get an MRI, which he probably wouldn't have been able to have the MRI done because of his age. So at that point, we had kind of talked a little bit on and off, but we didn't really want to talk about it because both me and your mom kind of knew that he's 18 years old, so he was getting up there, and our time with him was probably limited. And the doctors that we'd take him to, the vets, had said over the last couple of months, now it's over, it's quality of life over quantity. So with him not waking up, we had to make the tough decision to go ahead to put him to sleep. And so that's, it's a really sad thing, because like I said, we've had him for almost 18 years now. So the way that we got Tiga was when me and your mom married, she moved to the States with me when I got stationed from Germany to El Paso, Texas. And it was a big sacrifice for her to make that choice. She had never been to America. She was leaving her family. She was leaving everything that she had ever known to move with me to a place, halfway across the world. And, El Paso is a little different because you have the coming of two countries with America and Mexico right there. So, and going from Germany to almost a desert there in El Paso. And so I knew that she was struggling with some stuff, and I wanted her to be happy. And I never was really a cat person, but your mom is, and so we were there for about 3 weeks or so, and I said, why don't you go up to the pound or someplace and see if they have a cat. Maybe that'll help you feel a little bit better. Well, that was, a couple weeks after Christmas time, so there was no kittens or anything like that. And at the pound, and because I told her, I was like, most city pounds, they can only keep them for so long, and then they have to put them to sleep because they can't keep them. And she's like, that's horrible. And I'm like, yes. And now there's quite a few more no-kill shelters than then. And so they didn't have any kittens, but the local, I think it was SPCA had some. And so she comes home, and she's got this little black cat that's, he's tiny, but he's got these really long legs, and it kind of looked a little funny. And she was like, I saw him, and he was there by himself, and he was just screaming, and he looked so sad and so lonely. She's like, I had to adopt him. And I'm like, that's fine. And she's like, I also adopted another cat, and so the other cat had more kittens with it, and so she was like, we have to wait a couple of days. So she got Tiga, and she got a cat that you never met that was named Pandora. And so Tiga was there, and he started becoming, the leader of the house. And so I really didn't know how to handle a cat, and so I played with him more like a dog, and he did not like that one bit. And so there was one time I was laying on the bed, and he hopped up behind the bed, behind the curtain. I was like, oh, that's cute. And he walked up and he swiped at my face, and luckily I closed my eyes, because when I did, he hit me like right in the face, right on the eye, like drew blood and everything. But also, your mom started feeding him chips and French fries and a few other things that probably weren't the greatest thing for him, but he would come up, and it could seem like he could be outside and miles away, and as soon as he would hear that little rustle of a chip bag, boy, he would shoot in there. And so he would sit there and he'd start, meow, and he'd be patient for a second, but after a few chips, if you didn't give him a chip, he was going to swat your hand to get one. And or a French fry. I remember one time I was eating lunch, we had a little coffee table there, and I had my fries there, and I can't remember where I went. Well, he was unhappy that I hadn't given him any of my food, so he just walked up and knocked a couple of the fries off on the ground and ate them. And then one time, I was trying to, build a better relationship with my dad, and so I actually flew him from Illinois to El Paso to come down for like a week. And your mom made schnitzel for us. And Tigger decided he wanted some, so he jumped up on the table and knocked my dad's plate off onto the floor so that he could have him some schnitzel. And there was just a bunch of stuff like that he would do. He really loved his treats, and so we'd put his treats in like this one cabinet, and he knew where they were. So he jumped up on like the cabinet on the countertop and then opened the cabinet that was there. And so it's late at night, and you just hear this like noise. I'm like, what in the world is that? Well, he decided he wanted some treats, and so he wasn't going to wait around for anybody to get him treats because we were asleep. So he just decided to, open the cabinet and get the treats for himself. And then there was another time, I can't remember exactly what happened, but one of your mom's grandparents passed away, and she went back to Germany, and I just had surgery on my left ankle, the first one on it, and so they just put 2 screws in my ankle, and I got this cast on and everything. And so one night I really didn't feel like, gimping around to try to make dinner on crutches and stuff. So I was like, I'll just order a pizza. So I ordered the pizza, and I didn't really think much of it. And I was sleeping on the couch at the time because I had to kind of like prop my foot up to keep it comfortable and everything like that. And so I didn't take the pizza back into the kitchen or anything after. So it's another one of those, it's late at night, and I just start hearing this noise, and I'm like, what in the world is going on? I look over, Tiga decided he wanted some pizza. So he's trying to eat through the pizza box to get him some pizza. And I don't know if you'll remember her or not, but we had also, well, that's a little bit later on, but we got Lily, and he would bully her. She's like a 40-50 pound dog, and at one of the houses that we lived in, we had a cat tree, and then there was the hallway. Well, he would hide under the cat tree. When she would try coming up into the living room, he'd jump out and attack her. And then but after we first got him, your mom would feed him wet food in the morning. And so it was one of those that, you would feed him the wet food, and on the weekends he'd let you sleep. And, so sometimes we'd sleep into like 9:30, 10 o'clock. And if that wasn't acceptable for him, he would bite you on the back of your arm to wake you up, to make you get up so that you would give him his wet food. Well, that kept progressing until it's like he's doing that at like 3:30 every morning. And so we stopped giving him the wet food in the morning, and then we started giving it to him late at night. So it went, they would get fed twice a day. And so then he would get his wet food at night. And with everything that's been going on here lately, he's been getting like, they have these like little soup bowls or lickable treats or something like that. He's had some kidney issues, so we've been trying to give him stuff that's got more liquids in it. And so he gets like one of those, and then wet food. So he's started back up the antics of trying to wake you up early in the morning because he wants his food. He's not happy that you haven't given him his food. But through all the years that we had him, he always wanted all the other animals to know that he was number one in the house. About the only time that changed is when we moved into the house that we're living in now, and it's because all the animals came to that house at the same time, so no animal had a stake to like any of the territory. But for the most part, he's been a great cat. And like I said, we always kind of joked that, he was going to outlive us all because he was so mean and angry and ornery and stuff like that. He'd always randomly beat up our other cat Chester, or just our other dog Sweet Pea the pit bull. She's scared of him, and it's like, but I'll try to find as many pictures as I can of him. And but I got the call yesterday that we had him cremated, and that they had him ready to go get picked up. So I did that on the way home yesterday. And I know you don't quite understand what's going on right now, and you've been asking some really tough questions about people dying and things of that nature with everything going on, which is completely understandable. But if you do remember Tiga, I hope that one day if you do watch this video, maybe you'll have a couple good memories of him too. And I just, like I always say, I just want you to know I love you, Finn. Bye.